YOLO composing gloves here, and you just heard a track completely made from Symphony Series Percussion. Now, this is the fourth library in the installment. I don't really call them a series because they're made, the brass and woodwinds were Sound Iron, and the strings were Audio Brothers, and then the percussion is Sonyu's score, and they were recorded in 3 separate locations. So you can't really call them a series when they're all completely done by completely different people in different places. I think that's just a marketing ploy. They're just 4 orchestral libraries. The percussion is one of the best one. I think it's the best one out of them. I have them all, and because I think they're worth the upgrade, because when NI does that 50% off cross grades deal, that's a pretty darn good deal. So for that, I think they're definitely worth it. The library has some strengths to it that I think are the best ones I've worked with. But maybe you've worked with better. Maybe you, like me, and have worked with things that you consider a little worse. And it's definitely got some flaws too, though. So we're just going to go through, we're going to demo it and look at each one individually. You're going to see, I also have presets that I work with that I've labeled the sides so I know what stuff is. Like, here's the tremolo. Because I always hate it when I'm like working and I have to hunt for what key the tremolo is on. And I don't have any like Native Instruments keyboards. So being able to rename things in presets like this is really cool. They're made for FL and BRS or Articulate if you're really interested. At the end, I'll talk a little bit how to set it up because you'll have to do a little bit of assembly if you're going to use it. But anyways, besides that, the library itself is pretty darn nifty. It comes in several sections. If we come up here, the folder, we have kits, and then the kits are sort of like they took a bunch of the instruments that were in separate files and put them all together into one. I think the kits could have had better features than they do have. I'm actually kind of disappointed in some of the kits as far as their feature set. But basically, the idea is you just slap this down and begin to work, and it's really fast, and you just get your work done. And they accomplish that. We'll talk about them when we get there. The others are individual NKIs. They are better than the kit in that they allow you to control the individual mic position of it individually. So if you want to like change the mic position of the triangle and maybe you want to increase the spot mic on the triangle, or maybe the mid mic, then you can do that. But if you did it in a kit, it would change all the mics, and so that kind of stinks. And that's something that they totally could have included. And also, some of these have more articulations than the kits do, and that's another thing they could have included pretty easily. So I don't know, man. If I was on the programming team, maybe they ran out of budget. But if I was on there, I know how to do that, so I could have done that. But you know, whatever. I'm like an amateur scripter / samplist. And then yeah, that's pretty much it. Some of these things are a little undersampled, I think. Some of them are very well sampled though, like the timpani's great. So we're gonna start off with the toms, and I'm starting off with the tom ensemble. Now, if you come down here, you're greeted with the standard. All of their Symphony series looks like this. Try and convince you they all go together, even though we know they were recorded in different places. They include ADSR envelopes, which I actually really appreciate for things like glockenspiel. That's extremely useful. And then they've got round robins, continuous and random. You know, nothing new there. Most of the time, you're either going to spend your time messing with the mixer window here or the mapping window just to see where stuff is, unless you've created presets, which is what I have done. The articulation mapping has been done standardized. So they have this is the way it works, okay? Down here, if there's different like articulations, like a low note, like a edge note, like recorded on the edge, and then a centered, or maybe a low and high like they are here, they're going to be down here. I believe this was like C1 or C2 or something. No, this is C1. That's C2. Then you've got these little sets of 2 notes. Let me get up there. So if you're on a keyboard like I am right now, you can sequence in rolls live with 2 separate fingers, and it's really smooth. And they've also got the low and the high. So they'll oftentimes increase it up here. They've got tremolo. And they also have this release sample. I was actually going in and digging in the engine. You could get rid of the release sample if you don't like that, but you'd have to go in there and do it custom. I actually really like this release sample. I think their tremolos sound incredible. I don't know if my mod wheel is not hooked up to this. It's hooked up to this. So CC1 is the mod wheel. So I think I think these sound excellent. Some of the best tremolos. I've had a lot of percussion libraries where the loops just sound choppy, or you could tell where they morph. They're not convincing. This thing convinces me. So I'm really actually very happy with this. Their crescendos are not tempo synced. So you're going to have to slide the note around if you intend to use those. I personally think you can do anything you can do with your crescendo. Sounds like you could just do that with the tremolo. So I don't know why you would bother using the crescendo and deal with that madness, but you could if you want. And they also have flams. They include. And for whatever reason, they put this effects tab on a lot of them way up here on C5. And that's all it is. I feel like they really could have included this down lower on many of the patches. Maybe put it next to A1, where's the damp effect on several of the patches. They also include, it's common at C3, they include the velocity layers. So these aren't like separate notes, they're separate velocity layers. So if I hit like C3, I get the softest, and if I go all the way up to the top, I get the loudest. And you can tell the toms, now the toms in these drums were like sampled more intensely than the other instruments. I don't know why. I really wish the others were like matched in quality on some of this stuff. The snares and everything have snares on and off. Let's stay focused on the toms. So here's a little loop with the toms, and just give a listen. I don't really use the crescendo because the tremolo is better in my opinion. Here's what it sounds like. So there you go. There's a little loop, and you could hear the dynamic range and everything really good. You can see how many velocity layers they have. They've broadcasted that to you. And if we go into the mixer, you really have some pretty incredible options here. They mix really well. None of them sound like terrible. They have a spot mic, which is sort of unique. So that's like just really close to the instrument. That sounds really good as far as like other libraries I've messed with. They don't sound as clear. And this library also touts a piece of tech called, it's not really tech. Where's the homepage? Performance. You'll see this little animation start out. And I had some people that I was watching review this library that I think they thought this was an actual display. It's not a display. Just so you know, it's just an animation of pictures of a GIF or whatever that plays. I think it has to be I think it can't be a GIF. It has to be pictures or whatever. Anyways, it's just letting you know it's choosing samples for you. So some samples, so they came up with this idea that, you know, when you hit a drum, it's not going to resonate the same way every time. So we need some samples with less resonance. Like if we're hitting notes really close together, those really ought to have less resonance. That blurs them together a bit better. That's what would happen if you're like pounding away on a timpani, like brrr, it's going to blur it together into this wash of sound. And so that's what they were going for. Some libraries are overly clear because you can hear every single hit individually. And even though it's got round robins, it's still pretty apparent that there's this lack of wash that the real thing would have. And I'm in band and stuff. So like things like cymbals, I'm not impressed with the cymbals in this percussion library. But I am impressed with the drums because I think they've really accomplished that. And even just things like the tremolo, I didn't dig too much, but I think the tremolo is just a loop, but it's a really well done loop. Like I can't tell where it loops at all. Especially if you do a rise. So that's really good for being loud the whole time. I mean, it's pretty hard to tell. It's got that release sample, and I did go in and look at that. You can remove that if you want to. That little bum at the end. You could just go in and edit the sample endpoint and change that. So there you have it. There it is. And you've got all these great positions. Let's turn on the far. So you get really close and intimate. Or really far. As far as bigness, I don't think they captured a real big element with this library, but it's orchestral percussion, so. And with a little bit of mixing, you could certainly make it sound big. It's just not inherent in the microphone recordings themselves, which is kind of, I guess, a good thing. You get more flexibility. So yeah, I think you will probably want to come in here and mess with the microphone setup with a lot of the patches to fit your track. So it's really a really dynamic, useful thing. So anyways, there's all that stuff. Let's do more sounds, less talking. So this is the tom ensemble. Let's go ahead and just preview tom 1 real quick using the same loop. Here's tom 3. So they just sound really good. Tom 4. So there's your toms. Let's move on over. Now in here I also have the bass drums. So here we have a bass drum. So you can hear the tremolo. Here's the flam. Oh yeah, a lot of these include, they have effects way up here. I don't know why they did that. I don't know why they didn't put it closer. I mean, it sort of makes sense. They're trying to follow a standard. So at C5, that's where our effects go. But it's like one effect. There's your effect. I don't play bass drums, so I don't know if this has a special name. But I don't see why they couldn't have like stuck that on like B3 or something. These are taken up in some other patches, so I guess they just didn't want them overlapping. But honestly, this just seems like so far away. So there's your bass drum. Let's go ahead and swap that out for some other ones. So bass drums, there's 2 of them. You've got bass drum 1, bass drum 2. And let's switch it with, bass drum 2. Well, let me go with a spot here. Let's hear that. And then, of course, far, gotta have that. Pretty cool stuff. So let's swap that out. This is bass drum 1. Here's bass drum 2. I like bass drum 2 more than bass drum 1 for this particular line of music. They also have some field drums. So let's go over. So anyways, there's your drums, the big ones. Oh, you know what? I was going to do rototoms on the tom loop as well. So I'm going to turn that back on. And let's check out the rototoms. These have a great sound to them as well. I'm just going to go to rototom 3. I am not playing the loop. I replaced the bass drum. There we go. So there you go. There seems to be, when you load up, some timing issues, but usually if you start it over, there are no timing issues in the actual samples. So, I mean, they seem relatively, I know having all of them in phase is a big important stage in multi-mic recording for this sort of a thing. So there you go. Let's check out the, I forgot if the timbali will work with, I think it will, with the tom patches as well. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, they don't have a tremolo though. So just real solid stuff. Let's move over to the snares. So we've got some snares. Now this is, I believe, snare 3. Each one of these drums, if you really do it A, B right next to each other, they really do have a specific sound to them. So this is snare 3. The snares really I mean, they're great. Each one has a unique sound to it, so I think they're all useful. Check it out. They also have snare off options, which is a nice included thing. And snare one. So they're good. I like them. And of course, we've got our field drums. So let's do the field drum real quick. You hear that? So there you go. There's your drums. That's the drums folder for you. Let's move on over to the tuned percussion. Oh, I did have a separate thing for the rototoms. So there you have it. That's what I had going to show you. I'm now showing you. Okay, so starting us off here, I'm just sort of going to use this loop as the bed for most of our tuned percussion. In our tuned percussion, we have these things. I was actually pretty excited about the marimba. I was also excited about the Celestia, which I am no longer excited about. It's sort of sad. But anyways, let's go ahead and take a look here. Which one is going to turn on for me? I forgot how I did this. That's the Glock. Oh, I remember how I did this. Okay, so let's go ahead and go over to this loop. Cut that out and put it on the Celestia. All right, so here is their Celestia. Oh no, that's the factory Celestia. I was like, actually, that's kind of okay. Here is their Celestia. It's all right. I mean, I was really hoping for something that was softer. But it's just very bright and clingy, which can be great for some things. But that's with the mid and far on. Okay, so I've already tried to sort of make it as smooth. But if you turn on the spot or the stereo or close, it's just got that extra sizzle on it. So that deterred. I was less excited after this. It still sounds fine. It's missing that extra little, like, to me, it's better captured in the factory library version, which is the one below it, than it was in here. Like, it captured the magic of the Celestia a bit better. So, bit bummed about that. Oh, and this one's off by like an octave. And it's very soft. So, yeah, so these two come with contact if you buy it for free. So, I was really hoping for something spectacular out of this. And it worked. It's workable. It's cool. But I don't see, like, this is just going to be really bright in a sensitive texture. You know what I'm saying? So, and maybe you really dig it. Maybe this is like the best Celestia you've ever heard. Good for you. So moving on to the Glockenspiel. We come over here and put that down. And let's change the octaves. So with these Glockenspiels, this is pretty good. I like it. It's like whatever. It's not amazing. I wasn't like, oh my gosh. I've sampled the Glockenspiel myself. I don't think mine's better than theirs. Theirs, I think, beats mine. Let's see. Theirs is a range higher. Yeah, I don't know, man. I was like, okay, so for when I'm buying instruments that I myself have recorded, maybe I'm a little more critical. I've got a hard and soft mic mix position, or these are mounts. I have two mounts. That's what I was sort of like bummed out about. Was I'm fine with the Celestia the way it sounds, but I wish they had different mallets. They didn't have any other mallets. I feel like these were severely undersampled, in my opinion, for like what you would sort of expect from them. So, yeah, left me a little wanting. That's all. Still very usable. I really like the warmth of the marimba. So let's go ahead. I believe I have a different one for the marimba. It's right here. Check this out. I really like this marimba. Honestly, even though it's not got like any other mallets or anything like that, I think the marimba sounds excellent, just the way it is. It's got a lot of round robins, which I think contributes to it a little. I mean, not too much. The microphone sound, everything just came together for me on the marimba. I really dig the marimba. Like just that sounds spectacular. And then here's the factory marimba, which also sounds pretty okay. It's a little more pingy. It's got a fake plasticness to it. Maybe I'm just playing too high. Yeah, but the other one has this. Like to me, oh man, it sounds like a real marimba. Like the other one, you can tell it's a marimba. It's okay, but this one definitely has a little bit extra to it. So I really like the marimba. If we come down here, low piano hits. So I was kind of excited about this, but to me, we've got piano libraries already to do this. So I didn't really see the point of doing this. But they have recorded just the low ends of a piano, and they've got regular hits and octave hits. And they're pretty much good for lines that are like kind of aggressive and big. Maybe you've got like a intense battle scene with a crazy piano line running. Like, I don't know. Am I on the correct, which one is this on? Something like that. And so what am I on? Am I on the octave hits? Let's switch them to the regular hits. Oh, I'm already on that. Let's switch them to the octave hits. Let's show you what those sound like. Yeah, you could see the vibe. But to me, you got piano libraries. I'm going to reach for a piano before I reach for a patch that's got only like 2 octaves of a piano on it. I think there might be a little bit more. But anyways, it's sort of an interesting inclusion, though. I've always been like, okay, that's cool. I'm not sure if theirs just went lower than regular piano. I didn't look at it too closely because I was sort of just wondering, like, what? You know what I'm saying? But anyways, coming over here, we got the vibes. Vibes are all right. I mean, here's what they sound like. Sounds like vibes should sound. I was expecting sort of, again, I'm looking for that dreamier quality. So some additional articulations or mallets or something could have been nice. Different densities of plastic. It's got that same sort of forward sense as the Celestia, which is not, again, bad. It's just, I was hoping for a little bit something else, but this is fine. It sounds fine. Okay, so that's the vibes. Coming over here, we've got chimes. I think I was just gonna hit some chimes for you though, because they're chimes, and all that's on the chimes is literally just they're tubular bells technically. They're metal tubular bells. That's what they sound like. They've only got 2 round robins, but so I mean, if you're gonna do a roll, I guess this could be a big deal. Where are my tubular bells? I mean, that sounds fine to me. And if you're gonna do some crazy bell part, I think these will do the job. And again, you have the flexibility of their big mixer. So, yeah, they're good. I like them. I have tried recording chimes before, but I ran into the recording space just wasn't that great. So, my chimes didn't come out that great. But I tried with different mallets against. I just got more creative with it. I feel like they just went for like the most plastic approach on some of these instruments. Like, oh, we need chimes in our thing. Let's record some chimes. So they got chimes and they got the mic positions. And believe me, I know it turns into a load of work when you have all these different mic positions going on, and it's just like so much sample editing. It's crazy. So to add additional elements is like, we don't want to exhaust, our resources in doing it. But, one or two options as far as mallets would have been really nice. So anyways, you don't have that here. You just have really just sort of super basic. So we've got these cymbals. I didn't really show the cymbals because I'm going to show you them in the, let's go over here. Let's come on over. Here's some cymbals for you. So they have like cymbal 1, cymbal 2, cymbal 3. And did I not load the correct map? Or, I'm on a different MIDI. You have to be on MIDI channel 1 to see the map, by the way. So there's cymbals. You get the idea. There's like mics and stuff. But they have this dampening quality. So if you hit like a long, you can dampen it. Which I believe is just an ADSR trigger or something. I don't know exactly how. We can figure it out pretty easy though. So that's pretty nice. They also have short. They've got soft and hard, which is, so here is like, for example, let's do soft. Here's hard. There's not an incredible amount of difference. It's there though, like you can hear it. We have crescendo and tremolo. This tremolo is all right. You can tell where it loops, but it's okay. And then we have our velocity layers like normal. And then we also have these up here. These are kind of interesting. These are effects. Now this is what I'm talking about. Like, and now we've got like a load of effects up here. The effects now make sense. But in the other patches, I'm like, let's just not call it an effect and just call it like a varied articulation and move it down if you really have to be an effect to be up here. They've got like these brushes. Yeah, so if you're going for that sort of a vibe, they got you covered. So that's cool. These sorts of things are really nice to include in a sample library because, I mean, there's not really round robins. You record it once, you edit it, and then you're done. So this stuff is like, we could have more of this technically. It's a lot less work to put together something like that. But really well done. And they've got all the mic positions and stuff, so pretty cool. And now I am on the second instance of Contact. So there's your cymbals for you. We also have, now the timpani, of course, that's a big selling point. The timpani is really good. If Contact will load. There it goes. Okay, so we come over here to the timpani. I've already, that might have been a different take. I played it for you in one version, but I restarted. Here's a crescendo for you. I think this timpani is the best timpani I've worked with. So I think the timpani is totally worth it. It sounds super good. Let's turn on the spot and maybe the mid, and then we'll do our little roll. Let me go to the timpani here. That's like so good. Like that growth is like the most natural growing timpani. Now I haven't worked with Spitfire stuff or any of the other. I've worked with LA Drama drums. This is infinitely easier to work with. I'm sure you could probably get something similar out of LA Drama drums, but like they've made it all difficult. Their interface is like it's like got too much in it. It's an overly complicated interface that has sort of deterred me many times because there's just too many things to click on sometimes. Where this is just like you slap a timpani down, boom, it sounds amazing. Not only does it sound amazing, it sounds better than anything else I've worked with. So the timpani is like really great. And the tremolo is like a key switch, so it turns them on to tremolos. I'm getting sample pops from buffer size loading, my buffer loading. But if we go to like hits, it's also very dynamic. Like, they exhausted the living crap out of this timpani. Like, it's just so good. So I give it A+ to the timpani. No problem about that. Very, very well done. It's got the fancy drumhead resonance. It's just, yeah, timpani's solid, dude. We've got a xylophone. It's a standard xylophone. Sounds good. I've not really seen a xylophone that knocks my socks off yet. No articulations or anything. Again, very standard approach. It's fine because that's clearly what they're going for. So it's like, oh, ooh, now that's dramatic. So let's go into the mixer. You know, I'll show you some other mics. Here it is. Here's these mid, far, and spot. Here is close, mid, far. Yeah, xylophone sounds great. Yeah, nothing really to add to that. Did I include so I included toys kit. So instead of going through and showing you every single version of these toys, most of them have no additional recordings or samples or anything special about them. They're literally just a separate file. So this to me is sort of just like bloating the library. I mean, if you're going to do it, I guess you should be complete. So for that sake, that's fine. But in reality, you could get most of these things out of the toys kit. So if you load up the toys kit, it's got them all there. You got your cowbell, which is at the bottom of this patch, but in the other patch, it was like at the top. Claves, sticks, castanets. Some of these things I'm not sure how to say, like Ganko Gooey. I don't know how to say that. I'm sorry. The Agogo fiber slap. So you got your standard stuff. Sleigh bells sound bad, in my opinion. They sound good. They're too long, though. Like, if you're writing like a rhythm, to me, there's that blur between them is too much. There should be less. So this is a case where you would want to load up the individual sample set. So if we go into I believe it's in metal, sleigh bells. Oh, they also have shit bells. So there are some things in here that are not included. So here's the sleigh bells. If you click on the instrument, it will change that thing. Like, the heck is that so long? And that's their short version. So we could fix that by changing the release. But release can only do so much. Natural sounding. It's way down. So, I don't know. I'm just saying you have to change that. I wish it was inherently in there already. And then you have your velocity level hits. So you see there is a little bit more in some of these. So I encourage you to go through and just sort of dig through and get used to them. But that's what's in there. And then, yeah, they have a mark tree, which I got to just show you this because I think it's funny. So on their mark tree, by the way, a mark tree, I called mine a bell tree. I actually created one of these myself. And, this is what I mean. I got creative with it. Do I have the most amazing mic setup on the planet? No. Do they have like way better resources? Yeah. But, I had fun with this. And I came up with all these cool extra features and things. But this is what it looks like in the background. And what you do is you swipe a mallet up and down it. And so I tried it with a variety of mallets. I tried it with a variety of articulations. I included intuitive mixing interfaces, and key switches and all that mumbo jumbo. Including the ability to toggle round robin, tonal, assorted, mapped keyboard. I think mine just had, I really went for it. And theirs is like, here it is. You have two things. Boom, mark tree. So when I looked at this and 2 round robins, I was like, man, what the heck, man? Not cool. I mean, I don't know where I'm going to put that in a track. I guess this is less of a product and more of a creative challenge. But anyways, I thought about that. Like mine's got like, I've got brush rolls and hits and stuff. At least I tried to, I could see myself using that. This crazy person's just going crazy on this thing. Like, bro, come on. And then I have up and down and rolls. Like, see, I've got my crazy roll versions too. So I just looked at this, and that's what I mean when I say I look at a lot of these and think more could be done. Like, I believe the triangle, if I remember correctly, is literally just like 2 hits. If we open it up. Oh, no, they've got some more stuff. It must have been the sleigh bell. I mean, not the sleigh bell, the ship bells. They've got this up here too. Which, yeah, it would be more convenient to have it down here. There's nothing else up there. It's just that one key. So anyways, that is what you're gonna get here with this. Amongst the other kits, they have the orchestral percussion kit, which comes with all sorts of stuff. This is the one with the cowbell at the top. They have these sort of mixed hit kits where they mixed samples. I did not make a preset for this just because I wasn't sure what to call stuff. But I could see myself grabbing this and just doing something interesting with it. They've also got one dedicated to the drones that they have, where they mix cymbals. They've also got like little finger cymbals I didn't show you. You heard a lot of those toys in the little 30-second demo at the beginning. And they've also got, of course, a snare kit, which again lacks articulations that they could have easily included. But they decided not to, because why not, Like, for example, they've got snare on and off. But some of these things had edge, no edge. They had additional things. I don't see why they couldn't just include a couple more key switches. You got me. They've got toms, which are cool. Again, I think this thing could have been a bit more complete, but whatever. Let me make sure the snares did have that edge thing. I'm pretty sure they did. Yeah, see? Hits, edge. Instead, they leave out some of these extra articulations, which could be included via key switches or something. I don't know. So anyways, there you have it. That's the thing. Real quick, these are my, so you might be wondering about these. I'll include these in the description, but they do require a little bit of assembly. You will have this as well as a text file included with it. Every one must be pointed to the correct text file. I'm just going to sort of let you figure it out. It's going to match up with the patch, so it should be pretty self-explanatory. But you're going to click on this little folder icon, and it's going to have all these things. Some of them, like the bass drum, fulfill several of they have the exact same layout. So I didn't create multiples of those because it takes kind of a long time to make some of these, especially like orchestral percussion, because you got to get all the spaces in your text file lined up. It turned out being a nightmare trying to save it. I had to go into Word because Excel is giving me all these problems. So anyways, you can load this up. You have to load them up. When you do, load it up on MIDI channel 1. Don't load it up on a different channel. Otherwise, when you're in the piano roll, as you saw a couple times, if I'm in like 3, it goes away. And now I'm like, oh, what the heck am I controlling? But if I go to my first channel, boom, there it is. So anyways, there it is. My review, is it worth the money? On the upgrade price with the... if you do the cross grade or if you get a discount, worth it. Other than that, not really. I wouldn't do it. There's other libraries out there that could do similar things. I didn't show you the LA Drama Drums version things I was going to, but it's not really all that necessary. This is made to be an orchestral library. You've already seen there are things that are missing. Some things are a little brighter. I feel like some things were just escaped. That's a common criticism in a lot of reviews I was hearing. Was they just, they didn't go all out on this sort of a library. So, but it's good for what it is. And they've got some things that they really did go all out on. And sometimes having just that, for example, just having a really solid timpani, sometimes that's worth the price alone. Sometimes it could be just difficult to find something like that. So honestly, what I think would be really cool and what I would like to do is offer individual patches and just buy the things that, you really like. that would be way cooler to me. Like, oh, just buy the timpani, $10. Buy the timpani. I mean, if you added up all the individual patches, you'd probably make more money that way. That to me would be like the future of this thing. You know, like it'd be like that sample, what are they called? Not cymatics. Oh man, I forgot their name. How did I forget their name? Splice. They'd be like Splice, but for like contact. And I'm telling you, they would shred the industry. Like it would be revolutionary, but it would take a complete miracle to get everyone to work together like that. So I don't think it's going to happen, but it would be really, really, really cool. And people would really find out, you know, what patches people wanted. So anyways, subscribe, support me on Patreon. I appreciate it. If this was just a review, you're interested in more reviews, I'll do more reviews if you want. Try to give a comprehensive overview of everything, highlight the strengths, the weaknesses. Do I think it's worth it? Again, yeah, under the right conditions. If you want to fork out, maybe there's something in here that impressed you so much you want to fork out and get the whole deal. But it's good. It's a good percussion library. This is something I'm going to use. Subscribe and have a blessed day.